There's a house in Hamden, Ohio. 5 rooms, 1 bathroom. For most of the last 4 years, 20 people lived inside it. 4 adults, 16 children. Youngest, 18 months old. Oldest, 18 years old. On June 30th, 2026, deputies knocked on that door, not looking for children, looking for something else entirely. A neighbor, 3 houses down, said something that still gets under my skin. In all that time, he never once saw a single kid. Not one. This is the Siders family, and it starts with a warrant that was never supposed to find them. To understand how you get to 20 people in a 5-room house, you have to go back almost 2 decades. March 2008, a courthouse in Mason County, West Virginia. A 15-year-old girl named Elizabeth signs a marriage license next to an 18-year-old named Gary Siders Jr. 2 months later, their first child is born. She's still a teenager herself. Over the years that follow, Elizabeth has 16 children with Gary. 16. And somehow, this family turns into something close to a ghost. Court records trace them drifting through at least 4 Ohio counties, with ties stretching as far as Wisconsin, going back to 2005. No steady school enrollment. Barely any medical records. One school district's entire proof that 2 of these children existed was a single record from 2021. Sit with that for a second. 16 kids. And the kind of paper trail you'd expect from just one of them barely exists for all of them combined. Here's the part that throws me. The reason deputies showed up on Omer Street that morning had nothing to do with the children at all. They were serving a warrant tied to a separate, unrelated abuse investigation that had been quietly running for weeks. Nobody expected to find 16 kids behind that door. Sheriff Ryan Kane and Attorney General Andy Wilson described the scene as barely comprehensible. The children appeared to have spent most of the last 4 years confined to a space roughly 12 feet by 12 feet. Inside that same small home, Wilson said the kids looked almost feral. Several had limited ability to communicate. Some couldn't communicate at all. 7 were hospitalized in Columbus. 2 had to be life-flighted. And this is the detail that stuck with me. Officials said if the raid had happened even a day later, they believed they'd have been dealing with multiple deaths. 4 people were arrested that day. There's Gary Siders Sr., 73, the grandfather, his wife Christina, in her mid-60s, the grandmother, their son, Gary Jr., 36, the father, and his wife, Elizabeth, 33, the mother. 3 generations of the same family under one roof. And now all 4 adults facing the exact same charge. 16 felony counts of child endangerment. 1 count for every child in that house. All 4 stood in front of a judge and pleaded not guilty. Bond was set at $300,000 each. So what actually happened inside that house? Honestly, we know less than the headlines make it feel like. The charging documents don't describe specific acts. They're written in dry legal language, each count tied only to a child's initials and birth date. The search warrant affidavits that might explain more have been sealed by the court. Even the separate investigation that led deputies there in the first place hasn't been detailed publicly. I keep thinking about how ordinary this family's paper trail looks, right up until it isn't. Property taxes paid on time. 1 2017 citation for a missing booster seat. An unrelated set of misdemeanor charges filed against Gary Jr. just a day before the raid. Small, forgettable entries. Nothing that would make a stranger look twice. And underneath all of it, 16 children nobody outside that house seems to have been checking on. The attorneys involved have asked people to slow down. Elizabeth's lawyer points out she has no documented criminal history at all, and that the first thing she asked him wasn't about herself. It was whether her kids were okay. He stops short of calling her a victim, but he said plainly that it's too early to know her real role here. Gary Sr.'s attorney has made a similar point. This is still, technically, just a complaint. Not even an indictment yet. To me, the strangest thing about this case isn't the horror of it. It's the scale. 20 people, 1 roof, the better part of 2 decades. And I keep circling back to one detail. Elizabeth was 15 when she married into this family. 15. That doesn't excuse anything. There are 4 adults facing serious charges here, not one. But it complicates a story that true crime often wants to flatten into monsters on one side and victims on the other, with a clean line in between. Sometimes it's messier than that. Sometimes it's a pattern that started a generation earlier, folding a child in before she was old enough to understand what she was agreeing to. Honestly, the part that still bothers me is how long it took anyone to notice. No school ever flagged 16 missing students. No doctor's office ever asked why a family this size had almost no medical history anywhere. It's not that the system failed once. It's that this family barely appeared in the system at all. For years, across county lines. That's the quiet, unsettling core of this story. Not one dramatic reveal at the end. Just the sheer weight of everything nobody ever checked. Here's where this stands right now. The case is still active. More charges could come, more facts could surface, and legally, everyone involved, Elizabeth included, is presumed innocent until proven otherwise in court. What I'm genuinely curious about is this. How does a family of 20 go unnoticed for almost 2 decades? Isolation? Tell me what you think in the comments. And if you want cases told carefully instead of sensationalized, that's what this channel is for. Subscribe, it genuinely helps. Thanks for watching.